How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, Will, and what is up, listeners? Welcome to another week,
everybody.
Story of the Fight. Welcome one, welcome all. Man, that's my boy Will. My name is Ramiro. What is this Story of the Fight? We talk all things fights, mixed martial arts.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it means.
That's what we're here for.
Hey, we have a ton of fights to cover, but before we do, just want to let everybody know. And if this is your first time watching, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. And also, if you don't like watching, if you like listening, you can find us pretty much everywhere podcasts are found. And you're like, where might that be? Where can they check, Will?
Yeah, it's at Story of the Fight on pretty much everything. If you go to storyofthefight.com, it'll list all the links. You just click each one, hit follow. Makes it super easy. It's everywhere. Reddit, Twitch, TikTok,
What's that new one?
Threads. Story of the Fight.
We're on Threads. We're threading. That's what we do.
Threading, man. We're on X now. You know, it's not Twitter anymore.
What's it?
X.
Oh, that's right. I was like, there's another one?
Yeah. And like Ramiro said, like there's a ton of fights we're talking about. We're going to cover the UFC first, UFC Nashville. Then we're going to cover Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul. And then we're going to cover One Fight Night 13. If you're watching this back, timestamps down below. That's the order we're going through them. And we might as well get into it because there's a lot.
Ooh, holy fights, man. There was a lot of fights. Fun weekend, though. You know, you got some going on Friday. You got a couple things going on Saturday. Regen always joining us, man. He's a real one for sure. But yes, let's get started with Sandhagen versus Font. That was the main event of the UFC Fight Night, right? Sandhagen, man, he let me down because last year I predicted that he would end the champion in his division. He did not, so he's dead to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
No. I really like him, actually. But going into this, how did you feel when you saw Cory Sandhagen versus Rob Font being announced? Did you think, this is going to be super competitive, or?
Well, so then they announce it, and it's basically what? It's 2 weeks out. Rob Font fills in on short notice. He was supposed to fight Song Yadong, and then that fight, I guess, was about to fall through anyways. So then they were like, hey, you want to fight Sandhagen on 2 weeks' notice? And he was like, I already had a camp. So then they do, what do they do? Catch weight, right? And immediately I was like, banger. That was my immediate reaction. What was yours?
Really? My immediate reaction was not sure how competitive this is going to be. And the reason I say this is because, look, Rob Font is really good, right? Yeah. But there's a reason that I thought that Cory Sandhagen was going to finish a champion in his division last year. That's because, I don't know if it's just me, but in my head, I think that there's a gap between Cory Sandhagen and the rest. And almost everybody else that's in that division, right? In that bantamweight division. So I think he can beat Petr Yan. That might be a good fight too. I think that there's big separation from there on, though. Cory Sandhagen and Chito Vera, Rob Font, Song Yadong. I don't know. I was looking forward to that fight because Song Yadong coming out of Team Alpha Male.
That's a fun fight.
Coming out of Team Alpha Male, I felt like he's ascending quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I when I saw Sandhagen versus Rob Font, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be very competitive.
Well, yeah, I didn't think it was going to be very competitive, but I did think the straight hitting from Rob Font is going to be very fun to watch against someone like Cory Sandhagen, who is so angular and he has so many different weapons to fight around just a 1-2, you know? Yeah, I thought it was a fun matchup. I didn't think it was a very competitive one. No disrespect to Rob Font, just style-wise, I didn't think it was going to be competitive. I did not expect it to not be competitive in the way that it turned out, because that was crazy. We got D1 Sandhagen, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it started early, right? Sandhagen had a takedown in the first. And to recap the entire fight, there's a few times that they ended up standing again. definitely when the round was over and when the round will start again. They had to start off standing again.
Yep.
But just to get you an idea, going into the 5th round, Sandhagen had 15 minutes of control time on the ground.
Wow.
15 minutes. By the end of the 4th round, 15 minutes. 3 rounds, essentially. 3 whole rounds. Sandhagen was controlling Rob Font on the ground. So it was, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to go back and watch this one again.
No.
But it's just such a dominant performance by Sandhagen.
Yeah, Regen says Cruz defending Sandhagen and Bisping wanting to shit on the fight but not committing to it. I was hoping Cruz and Bisping were going to get into it. Yeah, I mean, when there's 15 minutes of top control going into the 4th round and there's not any damage or any even really transitions going on the whole time, it's tough as a commentator to find things to talk about.
Yeah,
Regen
says it felt like an hour of ground control. How do you think Ralph Font felt?
Yeah.
He probably felt like it was an entire day, And shout out Colleen, morning guys, no power in my house, but got the generator working so I could watch this morning. That is what we call dedication. That's what we call dedication. I love it.
You know what else was dedicated? The underhook for Cory Sandhagen in guard. Because basically it was the same thing. Every round was exactly the same. They trade a little bit. Rob Font heavy on that lead leg because he's such a jabber, and Cory Sandhagen would just reach down, grab the single leg because the lead leg's out there, take him down immediately, and just work in his guard for a bit. And he got that far side, the right underhook, and Rob Font was basically stuck just hooking it right because Sandhagen just held that underhook. And even in the post-fight press conference, he was like, yeah, I knew if I kept that underhook, that's how he gets up. And like, he doesn't really have a ton of other attacks or ways to get up. He uses that underhook every time. So as long as I had that, he wasn't going anywhere. And I was like,
wow.
Oh, all right.
Wow. Hey, shout out HOB Comer. Looking beautiful, boys. Sandman putting people to sleep, but the rest of the card was great. Like, putting people to sleep, like not choking them out, not knocking them out.
That was the thing. It was like, I saw a comment that was like, Sandhagen went from the Sandman from putting opponents to sleep to putting the crowd to sleep. It's like, damn. It's crazy because he was he was the action fighter, right? He's always been an action fighter.
But but it's the path of least resistance.
And
I can't blame the dude.
I don't know if you saw it, but he said that he thinks he tore his tricep in the 1st round.
Ooh,
so
really? Regen says, if I'm Fawn, I cried myself to sleep last night. Did we show the pictures already?
No, it's not working for some reason.
Oh, it's not working. That's unfortunate.
I'm going to try one more time right here.
There's a picture that I had on there of Rob Font when he's on his back, and it almost looks like he's looking straight to the camera with those eyes.
Oh, yeah, just like
where he's like, I probably should have picked in a few additional days of jiu-jitsu and passed on the boxing training for maybe 1 or 2 extra days. But it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah. HLB Comer says Dana walked out during the fight. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, Dana left, and he was not at the press conference.
It's probably because he was watching something that he was more interested in, which was another event.
The conspiracy theory is he's ditching the post-fight press conferences because of he doesn't want the Francis Tyson Fury questions. Because ever since that fight has been announced, he hasn't been on a press conference.
Really?
Including a pay-per-view press conference.
Wow. That's interesting.
That's probably, I mean, there's no way that's what it is. It's just funny coincidence.
It's funny, though. It's funny.
Yeah.
That's all I got for Sandhagen versus Font. Not much else.
Not much else. Yeah, I wish these slides were working, I don't know why it's not.
Yeah, by the way, everybody, our producer Rich is off in another Street Fighter tournament. This time I think he's in Vegas, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, but he is a traveling man. And he travels from Florida, port to port.
Vegas.
Yeah, there's no ports in Vegas, but you know what I mean.
I thought you were about to do Boats and Hoes lyrics.
Yeah. So good luck, Rich, out in your escapades, your Street Fighter escapades. Yes. Now we can move on to the co-main event. This one I was really excited for. Tatiana Suarez versus Jessica Andrade. Tatiana Suarez, man, she was on the up and up, known for her grappling skills, undefeated. And so everybody was saying, like, here comes Tatiana Suarez, future champ, right? And then she just goes from injury to injury. And so seeing her back in there, competing at the highest level, and Jessica Andrade is one of those fighters that just fought the who's who. You know what I mean?
Former champ.
Former champ. And so I think Tatiana was ranked 10th.
Yeah, I think they gave her back her ranking when she lost her ranking right before, because it had been like 4 years or something like that. Because she got injured. I think she had a back surgery or something like that. Then they found cancer. She fought cancer. Then she comes back, and it's like, and you never know, right? It's like when she came back, it was like, is she gonna be the same? Because she was her whole style was like workhorse wrestler, right? It's like with back surgery and then fighting cancer, like, can you even
her neck
get back
too?
to
No,
that
didn't
style?
she have issues with her neck too?
Maybe it was spine, neck. I don't know, something like that. But
either way, serious injury.
And then she comes back at the weight class above, maybe as like a feeling out type fight, because as soon as she won, I mean, she looked okay in that fight, right? And then but then she was like, yeah, I'm not going to fight at this division. I'm going to go back down to strawweight. And I was like, all right, thank God, because you could see physically she wasn't like quite as strong in that weight class. And then this was like, all right, well, we got the testing waters fight. Let's see what she does now. And they give her Andrade right away. And it's like, look, Andrade is very tough. She's a banger, but stylistically, it's a pretty good matchup for Tatiana, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a perfect matchup for Tatiana. In the sense that
style-wise.
Yes, rankings-wise, style-wise, and the fact that we're trying to get Tatiana ready for this title fight. So for Jessica Andrade, last few fights, Erin Blanchfield, rear naked choke loss.
Weight class
Yan
above.
Xiaonan loses, counter right, round 1. Pa!
Yeah, that was crazy, right? Because Yan Xiaonan's not really a power striker. She doesn't have a ton of like standing finishes. And then Andrade, you think of her as such a tank. So when she got stopped there, it was like, ooh, what's happening here?
Yeah. And then now Tatiana Suarez, guillotine choke. And
it was beautiful, man. Tatiana working. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, before that, Jessica Andrade was one of those fighters that would only lose to like the elite of the elite.
Yeah. Like title fights.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's hard, man, especially with that style. And she fights so frequently. Like the wheels start falling off eventually, you know. And for Tatiana, I mean, game plan wise, executed it perfectly. Great takedowns. The way she set up the guillotine was awesome, right? Where you almost like you're setting it up and you're giving them space to try to stand up. And as soon as they start to stand up, the neck is open. And then you're like, great, they fell for it. And then she jumps the guillotine right away. And it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. HOP Commander saying easiest money ever or ever made for Tatiana Suarez. Andrade is done. Also, Suarez is low-key hot, he says. Okay. Also, Andrade checked out a few fights ago. She's just showing up for the paycheck. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I feel like sometimes we have some of these fighters like a Jessica Andrade where for them, their identity ends up becoming being a fighter. And that's all they know, you know, because I do think that Jessica Andrade no longer will contend for a title. But, you know, I think that she still has some fun fights in her at least. That fight was fun. Not for her, maybe, but it made it fun for me to watch, and it made it for Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah, I mean, it was better than the main event. You know?
Damn, facts, though. Facts. All right. We can move on from the co-main event now. We're going to skip Jacoby versus Ndejikwu. And again, for the sake of time, because we're covering three separate events, we're skipping fights. So I believe we're going. Huh?
What are we doing?
Why?
We're covering so many events.
I know. We had Diego Lopes versus Gavin Tucker. This is your boy, Diego Lopes.
That's the boy right there, Diego. The old Tom DeLonge, you know? He looks exactly like him. Dude, Midnight's at Coachella for Blink-182.
But man, so the thing that I loved about this fight, you know, leading up to the fight, you know, they show the fighters warming up in the locker room. And I don't know if you noticed, they pan over to Lopes, to Diego Lopes, and he's on his back, and he's switching from armbar to armbar position.
Dude, I
while
hated that
warming up.
I hated that warm up.
Dude, but he's doing it over again. The person in this camp that he's warming up with then like moves around, gets in the side control. Diego then scrambles and gets him in another armbar. Going into this fight, Diego Lopes knew the arm will be exposed in one way or another. They saw something that made him say like, hey, I'm going to be able to finish this fight with an armbar. Yeah,
it could be because, man, we knew his jiu-jitsu was slick, right? He comes in on short notice against what? Was it Evloev? Who he fought on short notice? Pretty sure it was.
Let me see here.
Who's game, right?
Mozart Evloev, yeah.
Yeah, and Evloev's very good. So when he comes in against Evloev and he almost submits him 3 times or something like that, something crazy like that in that fight, I was like, okay, this guy is very interesting, someone to watch for. But then you never know if it's like a flash in the pan type debut. You know what I mean? Like when Lando Venata fought Tony Ferguson on short notice debut, and he looked like a world beater. He's slipping all these crazy shots. He drops Tony like twice, but then he never really kind of got back to that level. And I was like, is that Diego Lopes? You know, did he come in and have that same type of like fun, creative success against Evloev? But it was because maybe Evloev didn't know anything about him, and it was on short notice, so he didn't have time to prepare for him, and that's how he exceeded expectations, and then he never quite got to there again. No, it was not that, because this fight was fucking awesome again. He's an action fighter. He's Alexa Grasso's jiu-jitsu coach, you know, so you expect the jiu-jitsu. Gavin Tucker comes out, immediately kicks him right in the dick, super hard. I was like, oh no, it's not looking good for my boy.
Dude, the slow motion replay too was nasty.
Oh, it was a doozy, man. That was that's one of the worst ones I've seen in a while, man. Because open stance, right? So it's like, the nuts are open when you're open stance, right? Southpaw versus orthodox, and that rear leg round or low kick straight to the cup. You know, spread legs straight to the cup. It was like, oh god. And then Tucker ends up shooting it on a takedown, and on the shot, he's like, I know people shoot or jump guillotine and accept a takedown by jumping guillotine. Dude jumped triangle. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Regen saying that one guy in the crowd yelling, kick him in the dick, finally got some shine, finally got what he was asking for. Absolutely. After years and years, he's like, all right, somebody listen to my advice.
Did he hear me?
No, it was awesome. And I think that the progression, all the way that led to the armbar, was money too, right?
Oh, because so sick.
He
look who
gets
fixed the pictures.
Oh, the pictures. Let's go. All right.
Yeah. Sorry if I felt checked out during those conversations. I was trying to figure out how to get the fucking pictures.
All right, just Andrade. So as he gets him in that triangle choke, Tucker slips his left hand in, trying to create more space so that he doesn't get choked out, right? So then
I was so worried in that moment.
Yeah. Why?
Because so in this position, imagine this is after what you're talking about, right? But if you see this arm here from Tucker, it was in with his arm here in between his legs, just at the wrist. So the hand was in.
Just enough.
What that does is it makes it so that so this leg here is one side of the choke, and then your own arm is the other side of the choke. So by putting your hand here on this side of your face, you're creating space in between your neck and this leg. So you're not getting choked. But because Lopes is such a G, he immediately goes for the arm bar on the arm that's trapped in. And I was like, oh no. Because the downside of putting your hand in to defend against a choke is now you can't tap out. You can't submit. And with Lopes attacking your arm like that, I was like, we very well might see an arm break right now. And I don't necessarily know if I want to see that right now. And then
but because of him attacking the arm, it made Tucker react a little bit more and rip that left arm out, right? Which then led to
Yeah, so basically he rips the arm out, and exactly right. So he takes this arm out, he reaches across it to grab his own wrist to try to defend against the armbar. Ends up rolling. They roll, and as they're rolling, you see the arm completely bend the wrong way for a second.
Disgusting.
Disgusting. And they finish the roll, and Lopes just gets off of him because as they're rolling, the arm snaps the wrong way. Tucker taps. The ref's running over to see what's going on. I don't even know if he saw the tap.
I don't
Lopes
think he did.
just gets up and walks away.
Yep.
HLB Comer
Like a
says
badass.
coolest walk-off submission ever.
Like
I mean, it was beautiful.
Dude.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was so good, man. Beautiful. Like I said, progression.
Graphic warning here. If you want to see the arm bending the wrong way during the roll, here we go.
Let's see. There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
As HLB Comer says, let's be honest, we all want to see some limb breaks sometimes. It is one of those times.
Well, here you go.
There it is.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We deliver here, you know? That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
But what a win by Diego Lopes.
Beautiful win.
And
Beautiful
he proves
win,
that he's
man.
not a flash in the pan. He's very skilled, and he's dangerous, and he needs to be taken seriously despite the chest tattoo and the haircut, which, you know what?
Fight.
I love
Second fight in the UFC. Second fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
But 22-6, man. So this dude's been doing it for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's no slouch. HB Comer says disgusting. Blunderbub says it was a bad week for arms.
Sure was.
Yes, it was, and we'll cover
Sure
that.
was. We will
later
cover that
with
later.
The card.
Ooh, the teaser.
The teaser.
Stay tuned.
Shout out Blunderbub.
All right. Now, the next fight we're going to cover. I believe we are moving on to Ludovit Klein versus Ignacio Bahamondes.
Man, this was an interesting one because Bahamondes, very hyped, very hot prospect. He has the wheel kick knockout over Roosevelt Roberts. He looks like just those long, lean kickers that have very good leg dexterity. They're very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Especially when they're doing what they want to do.
When he's creative. Because that's the thing with Ignacio Bahamondes is he's very creative, the way that he enters with his knees and that reach, man. A lot of times when fighters think that they're right outside of range, they get slapped on the face with his foot, right, or with his heel. So it makes for a very interesting fight whenever Bahamondes is in there. Dude, he gets caught early, though.
Yeah, and Ludovit Klein said, that's great. You're nice and rangy. I will use my footwork to get inside. I will use my wrestling to gas out your legs. And don't forget, I can throw hands. His punching combinations look so good. Just very mechanically sound, you know, like no wasted energy on them. He rips them like they're hard shots, but they're very efficient at the same time. You know, he's not loading up on them. He's very good. He's very explosive with his punches.
So the biggest difference for me, though, I just felt like Ludovit Klein is just so much more mechanically sound. You know, he doesn't overextend. He stays nice and tight inside. Just seemed to be beating Bahamondes to the punch more often than not. And, man, he had Bahamondes pretty hurt by the end of the fight, all bloody up.
He was kind of battering him the whole fight. And just a great like mixed martial arts performance, to be honest. Like the entries on the takedowns were fantastic. Good top game, good shots on the ground, just making him work, making him use his legs to get back up, you know, take away the kicks with the wrestling, good body shots. And then, he kind of battered him, you know, just complete dominance. And they were saying like, Bisping was like, Bahamondes, like, despite it bothered me how much they were talking about Bahamondes in this fight, because the whole commentary team, the entire fight was like, he's going to learn a lot from this, all this stuff. It was just focusing on Bahamondes and not like the very good work from Klein. I thought he looked really good. The other thing that was kind of bizarre, did you see the live odds at the start of the third round?
Oh.
They had Klein at like plus 210, 220 or something like that, even though he clearly dominated the first two rounds and Bahamondes was exhausted. And I was like, it was one of those moments where I was like, how do I do it? How do I bet the house right now on Klein? Because there's no way he gets caught when Bahamondes is this gassed. And then I didn't figure it out.
Oh, no, man. Knowing our luck, though.
Like, damn it.
Knowing our luck, like we just placed a dime bet and then all of a sudden it's like craziest knockout from Bahamondes in history, and it's just like that's how my
and the stream crashes right before it happens, so you're like, did I win my money?
Oh man, for real. But hey, that's I think that's it for that fight. We're gonna skip through a couple more. Well, actually, just a quick thing. Tanner Boser gets a win. Looked pretty good. Let's see here. Kyler Phillips moves to 11-2. Props to Kyler Phillips.
That was a fun fight too.
She should be seeing a ranked opponent here very soon. Carlston Harris with a comeback win over Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells, we talked about closing the distance. I've never seen anybody close the distance like Jeremiah Wells. Dude, literally like Bob
lunging at people
and lunging, and then like Carlston Harris.
Luckily,
was like, yeah, exactly. But the other fight we're going to cover
the distance, Joe,
a little bit more is Billy Quarantillo versus Damon Jackson. Billy the Kid.
Make the nickname the Kid. Just make it Billy the Kid already. This guy, I was so excited for this fight. Because HB says, "What? Will doesn't know how to be a degenerate gambler. How pure is that boy?" Look, man, they don't want to take. I try to make a deposit, and then they're like, "Your bank blocked it," and then I call my bank, and they're like, "We don't block anything like that. You're good." And then I'm like,
"True story." Will has reached out to your boy here and been like, "Yo, place a bet for me real quick." It's happened a few times,
and then I lose that money. Or I lose your money.
So funny, dude. But yeah. So Billy the Kid, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Nate Diaz, in the sense that he's gonna eat some shots in the beginning, and as the fight continues going on, it's like all those shots that he ate, he absorbs, and it gives him power. And like, who else knew that?
He sent it back.
Yeah, who else knew that? Is Damon Jackson. Because he even said, like, hey, I have to try to put Billy the Kid out in the first round, because if I let this go on for the later rounds, it's going to get tough for your boy here.
Well, so that's the thing with Billy. Like, going into this fight, I was so excited because, like, Damon Jackson also is one of those, like, war of attrition type fighters. You know what I mean? Like, the both of them are like, they sap people's gas tanks over long stretches, you know? And in that first round, Damon Jackson was putting it on him, like, just landing huge shot. And meanwhile, Bisping's basically talking about how bad his striking is while he's lighting up Billy Quarantillo. Also, they say Quarantillo. Is it not Quarantillo?
Well, it depends on country of origin,
I guess because it looks very Spanish to me. Very Latin.
This was Mexico. It would be
Quarantillo. But yeah, so the first round is pretty much Damon Jackson just lighting him up on the feet, landing big shots, extending his combinations really, really well. He found his range super early. He has a weird offbeat tempo, so, like, you don't know if that two's coming back behind the jab, and then you think you're safe, and then there it is. It's right on you. And I mean, he just was smothering him. Like, Damon Jackson fights like that. He's another smothering fighter, Yep. But then, can you out-smother Billy with striking? I don't think you can, because
smother?
Yeah, because then the second round, he's like, great, now you're tired from all your volume that you threw. I'm a little tired too, but there's certain guys that, like, actually Duplessis is one of these guys, where they look exhausted, and they probably are, but they probably just have so many rounds spent tired in the training camp, that's my element. Like, you have to be comfortable with being exhausted, and some guys really excel at that, and Billy's one of those, where the body language, when they're not in close, maybe he looks like he's exhausted, maybe he looks like he's a little concussed, but then he comes in and once he gets in range, he's lighting you up with
Billy lives concussed,
nasty body shots. Yeah, Billy's always concussed. Billy concussed Quarantillo, dude.
Oh no, Billy the Kid. I like that better.
Yeah, Billy Kid's better, but yeah, it's like both these guys are so good at sapping their opponents' gas tanks. I don't think you can do that with Billy unless you're just relentlessly taking him down and just doing mat returns, making him get up, mat return, making him get up, mat return. Because once he gets going, man, he's an avalanche. There's no stopping him.
Man, and that first round, right? He gets caught with a big shot, and it's crazy because Quarantillo just looked like he was kind of stuck in quicksand. He made Damon Jackson look like, I don't know, man. Like he had the fastest hand speed that I had ever seen, but it was just Quarantillo that looked like he was just a little sluggish.
Well, I think the reaction time is off because Damon just throws it such weird. His timings are so weird, like his rhythm. He has no rhythm,
Maybe that's what it was.
No rhythm.
Then he's on his back,
sometimes.
Gets in rubber guard, and sneaks it down under the neck. And I'm like,
I forgot.
Oh my god,
dude, that's the other thing. I forgot that he set up the fucking gogoplata.
He did.
He set it up. He didn't get the right leg over, and while he was still trying to get the right leg over, I don't remember if it was Bisping. It was probably Bisping because I don't think Dominic Cruz would be this wrong about something like this. But Bisping's like, he's got it locked in, the gogoplata. And it's like, well, he's got half of it, but that's closer than most people even get. It's a very difficult submission to set up. And
it was
that would have been amazing. That would have been so cool.
Awesome.
I love gogoplata. Is awesome.
But dude, second round hits. And man, how the turntable. Because from that point on, it was just Billy the Kid all the way.
Yeah, HLB Comer says this is my one pre-fight bet. Was sweating a bit in round 1, but Billy pulled through. That's a good bet. Billy,
it is.
Billy's the epitome of call an ambulance, but not for me.
Right?
Yeah, because man, he'll get, and it's not like he's ever like really really hurt, but he's just in these dogfights in the first round where he almost loses the first round, usually in those dogfights, and then he just ramps it up. He just keeps that dogfight going. It's like you said, it's very similar to Nate, where especially like early, like prime Nate was like, I'm gonna fight at such this ridiculous pace where I'm landing these pitter patter shots that you think, cool, I can take these and give my own. I can do this all day, but then once you start slowing down, I'm still landing these shots, and you're slowing down, and I'm still going, and I tricked you into going 1-to-1 with me. And now you're exhausted, and I'm beating the brakes off of you, basically. And Damon still, it's not like Damon was like completely underwater in the second and third. Like it was still competitive, but Billy was clearly winning those rounds.
I thought it was a very clear 29-28 for Billy.
Yeah,
very
like the epitome of 29-28, right?
But what a grueling fight, man! By the end, you're just like, dude, oh god, I'm tired.
Both these guys refuse to have like clean, easy fights,
Comer, by the way, earlier made me laugh, and he says the reason your money not going through for those bets is they say we can't accept money from angels. Me, on the other hand, I put money in. They're like, dude, you want to deposit more?
Yeah, like, hey man,
we'll take all your money.
We could schedule this.
Yeah. Automatic withdrawals. Let's do it.
Automatic withdrawals.
That's hilarious.
Since you deposit every Saturday, we could just keep that going.
Hilarious. All right, that was the last fight we're covering for UFC. So we can go.
Oh, we still got Cody Durden and Hadley.
Oh, do we? Oh, we do. Literally just watched that fight too. We're just talking about this, and I already forgot about it. So we had Cody Durden versus Jake Hadley. The first 2 rounds were so much fun.
So much fun.
But
going into this,
that second round, why were you?
Yeah, because Hadley's so fun to watch on the feet, and he struggles getting off his back in the past. Like wrestlers have been his kryptonite. And I was like, why are you giving him Cody Durden? Like, what are you doing? Like, I just want to watch Hadley strike with people because his combinations are so fun to watch. He flows very well. And I was like, stop giving him fucking wrestlers. What do we like? I think it's like he had a lot of negative stuff with the UFC when he tried to, from Cage Warriors. He came over and he was trying to act like he owned the place already. And then they like left, and then Dana signed him, and everybody was pissed. Remember, Sean Shelby, McMahon were like, why are you signing this dude? He's a fucking schmuck, whatever. And then it's like, maybe that's why they keep giving him wrestlers, huh? But he actually, yeah. Sean Shelby's like, oh, you want to sign him? Cool. Well, I'll do it myself then. Basically. Yeah. But man, the first 2 rounds were so fun, dude, and he really looked a lot better off of his back in this fight than he has in the past. Because very active, throwing up submissions. What I didn't expect, and this is kind of what happens when a striker fights a wrestler, is the wrestler ends up having a lot of success on the feet because they're like, don't get taken down, don't get taken down, don't get taken down. And Durden, everything he was throwing from the right side was beautiful, man. The right hook to the body like this, the step and elbow with the right hand, the overhand right, just mixing it up, going through those on shuffle basically, and just keep Hadley guessing. And then as soon as Hadley commits to striking with him, bam, taken down. It was a very good game plan from Durden and executed well too.
Yeah, that second round, right when it looks like Durden is locking in that anaconda choke, Hadley starts rolls out of it, and then ends up taking Durden's back.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going on, man? And then I believe this was the end of the second round, right?
That's the end of the second round. And the second round starts and Hadley ends up shooting on Durden. And I'm like, what is going on here in this fight? And then, like you said, Durden locks up that choke. And I was like, oh, why did you shoot, man? And then he's in the anaconda choke with their arms in like this. And we were talking about it earlier where, right, same thing. So now the neck Durden's arm is on my neck here if I'm Hadley. And then my arm's trapped like this. So now my shoulder is the other side of the choke. I'm squeezing like this with his arm, my shoulder. And so what you want to do sometimes is you take your other hand and you grab yourself on the wrist like this and you just push it. You push this arm off the neck. And now you have a little bit of space just from framing and pushing as hard as you can with that other arm. We talked about it where while he's in that choke and he's pushing against his arm to try to keep that space, the ref thinks, I wonder if this guy's unconscious right now because it's hard to tell. So he grabs the arm he's using to push to create space. He grabs that arm, pulls it off and shakes it real quick. And Hadley's like, thumbs up, man. But like, hey, I was using that to survive this choke. Eventually is able to get it back. And while he's pressing on that, he's able to turn into it while Bisping is saying it's the wrong thing to do. Hadley then gets to his turtle position from doing that. And then, spins around and takes Durden's back. And it was so fast. And it was like, holy shit. How did he just get escaping a choke and then immediately taking the back is amazing. That's incredible. Reminded me of Matt Hughes versus Frank Trigg 2 back in like UFC 57 or whatever it was. 52. 57 or 52, where Trigg has him in the rear naked choke. And it's like, oh, he's going out. Grabs the top hand, takes it down, reverses it, and then picks him up, runs him across the cage and slams him, and then takes his back and chokes him. Like, it was just amazing, right? It kind of reminded me of that to a lesser extent. But then while he's on the back, he's kind of slipping forward a little bit, and his leg's over the arm of Durden here. He's like, cool, I'll just set up the inverted triangle. So he's got the triangle set up backwards, right? It's inverted triangle from back mount, and the arm is already posted out. So to finish the triangle, he would have had to grab that arm that's posted, this arm here, and feed it under Durden's own body. It's not going to happen. There's no way he's going to do that. And without doing that, you're not going to get the choke because you can see, look at all this space between his shoulder and his neck. Yeah. If he was able to push this across this way, then he would choke him. But he couldn't, obviously, because Durden knows what's going on. So he tries to get the arm bar from that inverted triangle position. And it looks bad here. And then it cuts to the other side where you can see Durden's face because he's looking off into the distance. And he is like on the verge of screaming in pain. It looked so nasty. And then the ref walks over and grabs his arm. He's like, are you awake? And he's like, yeah, man.
I'm in an arm bar.
Yeah, I'm dying here. Just let me just focus right now. And Hadley just cranking on that arm. I have no idea how Durden didn't tap. Because, like, obviously the pressure's not perfect, right? Because ideally in the flattened belly down armbar, you would want this leg not behind this head. You'd want it over the shoulder here, but in front of the face, so you can really get more torque on the arm. But it seemed like he got plenty of torque on that arm, despite the position. And then I thought the third round was pretty bad.
I thought it was done.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell, right? He didn't. He escaped it.
No,
he escaped it. Ended up on top. Yeah,
it ended up on top.
Man,
and then the crazy thing though is, the bell rings. They stand up, and you can see Hadley take a deep breath, and he was like, "Oh, damn," And then Durden looks over at him and just smiles, dude.
Yeah,
big old smile on his face, God. Like, "Oh, you thought you had me."
Yeah,
you thought you had me.
Then the third round, Hadley shoots again. It doesn't work out again, and he just gets crumpled down into the sprawl position where he's in turtle, and you could tell the legs are just not working anymore. And yeah, Durden kind of just controlled him the whole round. And it was funny because Dominic Cruz, he's like obsessed with cuts nowadays. He's like, oh, if you get a cut, you win the fight. He's like, it's like his sticking point now. And in the third, they're like, man, first round probably Cody Durden, second round probably Hadley, right? Because he was close to finishing it. He's like, but if this goes to decision, the Durden will probably get it because of that cut. And it's like, Dom, the cut happened in the first round. It only affects the scoring of the first round. Like, what are you talking about? How it has nothing to do with the third round.
I want to say, if I were to guess, that they got together with some judges because there's a few times that they talked about judging throughout the night, and they said, hey, well, remember what the judges said in our meeting.
Yeah.
And so the judges probably told them, like, hey, we take a look at visible damage too. That also, we take that into account during the fight.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just thinking like, hey, he's got blood all over his face.
Yeah.
This is going to look like he lost,
And there's something about Dom where if he's talking about something and he's already decided his opinion on it, he's not going to change. Like, he's going to defend, oh yeah, Conor's not just eating this ground and pound. He's actually doing this to gas out Khabib. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And then he keeps defending it to Joe when he calls him on it. And then earlier he always does that. Anytime there's something that he makes up his mind and he's wrong, he just keeps doubling down on it. It's like, Dom, you can admit mistakes sometimes. Doesn't mean you're dumb. Everybody makes it.
Classic. All right. Now that for real was the last fight we're covering, we have the moment of silence for the fights that were lost.
Yeah, holy moly. There's a whole card, huh? Sean Woodson had 3 opponents fall through, and then he still got the win on someone on like 4 days' notice. Rest in peace. He looked really good, though. OSP was supposed to fight Kutalaba. I cannot believe, what year is it? That's crazy that fight even was on the table. Ulanbekov was originally supposed to fight Hadley. That would have been probably a better matchup for Hadley. Saeed Nurmagomedov was supposed to fight Kyler Phillips. Saeed pulls out. Umar Nurmagomedov, no relation, was supposed to fight Cory Sandhagen in the main event, and he withdrew, so Rob Font sticks in, and that's it.
Yeah, I feel like half this page was all people that were supposed to fight Sean Woodson.
Yeah, seriously. I wouldn't want to fight him either. That guy's dangerous. Performance bonuses. There was no fight of the night, despite Hadley versus Durden being a really good fight. So they gave a bonus to every finish of the card. So let's see. Tatiana Suarez gets one for the guillotine choke. Jacoby gets one for the early stoppage on Nzechiku. Just kidding. It was a good knockout. But it also was early stoppage. Lopes gets one for the sweet armbar and triangle. Let's see. Harris gets one for choking out Jeremiah Wells. He put him out quick too. When he finally got the crank on it, he was out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ode Osborne, man, could not get it done. He gets finished. Almabayev got the win. That was actually a fun fight too. They should open every card with flyweights. That's a good
Ode Osborne, huh? Like just I don't know.
Killer be killed, man. Glass cannon.
I guess. But yeah, I was just expecting a lot more from Ode Osborne. But hey, that's it for the UFC Fight Night. We will transition now to the boxing event of the year. Forget Earl Spence versus Bud Crawford. We're talking Nate Diaz now versus Jake Paul.
That was last weekend, right?
Yeah, Earl Spence got his
to go from the most anticipated boxing fight in like 5 or 6 years to this. The next weekend is so funny.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Hilarious, man.
Shout out to Earl Spence, by the way. Sold him some speakers. Super nice guy.
Blunderbuss says, was Chachi choose the bonus for the UFC? Seems like it, huh?
Man. All right. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. You watched the entire thing?
Yeah, I did. Shout out Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if anybody's into that, but I was hoping Rich was going to be here so I could talk to him about it. But Baldur's Gate 3 came out. I played that for 12 hours yesterday, so that was fun. So yeah, I was watching it while I was playing that.
Ooh, okay. I don't know what that is, but so
awesome.
Look, a lot of Nate Diaz fans were worried. He's 38 years old, going up against Jake Paul, who's 26.
Let's be real. And it's 38 with a lot of miles on that.
A lot of miles, a lot of wars, and we know Nate Diaz's style. We talked about it earlier where he likes to absorb shots. He starts slow every single time. And then as the fight goes on, he starts to ramp it up a bit.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't sure if he was going to be able to eat some of those shots from Jake Paul early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, going into it, it was like, okay, Jake is what, 26? 26 years old, on a ton of testosterone, clearly, right? I don't think the drug testing is very stringent for his own events, and he's jacked. So it's like, okay, this guy's 26 years old. He's on steroids. He hits like a truck. And he's fighting 38-year-old Nate Diaz, who is much slower now, who is a 155er, truly, and has struggled against every 170-pounder that he's ever faced, being just manhandled by him. Rory McDonald, like anytime he went up to 170 and fought an actual welterweight, just completely dominated. So here he is fighting at 185 against a 26-year-old on steroids. And I was like, man, I just hate this setup. It sucks. I don't want to see my boy. I've been a Nate Diaz ride or die for fucking since like 2007, 2006 maybe. When was Tough 5? 2007, something like that. Whenever that was. And so I was like, I just don't want to see my boy get knocked out by a YouTuber. Like, it just sucks. And like, it doesn't mean anything. If you like, it just doesn't mean anything. So like, outside of the money, what does it matter? But then,
2007.
2007. Wow. What am I, Rain Man or something? But you know what? He actually did pretty damn well.
Yeah, in the first rounds,
obviously, like he lost clearly.
The first rounds were worrisome.
I gave him the second round.
Big shots. He ate big left right off the 10. I hurt him in that first round. Mm-hmm. And my wife's watching because she's also a Nate Diaz fan. And she's like, oh no, like this might be over early. And I was like, well, this is Nate. Like, even when you see like when Jake would stop throwing those big haymakers, Nate would just come up, with his hands down and just put it back up. Yeah, walk forward. And I was like, he's fine. Like, this is just Nate Diaz. Second round, starts coming alive a little bit more with the little pitter patter that, just kind of.
I scored that round.
A couple small shots, but outside of that, man, you definitely see the difference in speed between Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. And look,
footwork.
I know people are saying like, hey, he lost to YouTuber, didn't want to see him get knocked out by YouTuber. Let's be real here, though. Jake Paul's been putting in the work. He's been boxing for the last 3 years, which when you think about what he's done in 3 years, that's pretty damn impressive, man.
Is it just 3 now? I feel like it's been longer. I guess, probably, huh?
But
he knocked out Tyron Woodley. He knocked out Tyron Woodley, who was an actual welterweight, who also was undersized against Jake Paul because Jake Paul fought him at like 185, I think, again. But it's like the fact that he knocked out Woodley and Askren, who are both welterweights, and he didn't knock out Nate. That alone is that's a win in my book. Nate was barely bleeding. I thought he was going to be bleeding like crazy because of all the scar tissue. He came alive. He came alive at the end, but you could tell also like it didn't seem like he really cared at all. Like he was just
the
like,
thing with
I'm
Nate,
just here.
And
I'm getting
this
paid.
is what I've noticed from his last few fights is Nate takes on and cares about moral victories more than he does about the actual W or the L that goes on his record.
He'll find one thing to pull. And you know what he pulled from this one? A guillotine.
The guillotine
late in the fight. Fucking awesome.
But
dude.
it's not just that. The single leg that he went after in the beginning of the fight. And he kind of like sits up and smiles and laughs. And you hear the crowd start cheering. Yeah. This one right here, right? There's a great
Shout out Esther Lynn. I wish Esther Lynn still covered UFC, man. She has all of the iconic MMA photos up until like 2018 or something like that. It's all her. She is just an incredible combat sports photographer. I was glad she was there.
Such a good shot.
So good.
And then in the exchange, Paul goes to hold Nate Diaz, and so Nate sinks in the guillotine, and you see him reach his right glove down and like just hooks as much as he can and starts choking the shit out of Jake Paul. And he looks at the crowd, ref separates him, and once again points at him, looks over the crowd, flexes, starts laughing, and the crowd goes absolutely nuts. And then who's the other boxing announcer that they had on last night, along with Hardy?
They had Todd Grisham. They had Todd Grisham, Hardy, and then I forgot the other guy.
That's the guy I'm
Nate
talking about right now.
completely won him over by the end of the fight.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So, like at this point, I believe it's the 9th round, if I'm not mistaken. And in the beginning of the fight, it's that announcer that's like, well, Jake's been doing this, Jake's been doing that. Nate Diaz with his hands down. You can tell that Jake's been in boxing, Nate's been in MMA, and he's essentially on the guy. But I want to say
he's not turning over on his punches.
6 or 7 round, he was like, Nate's very entertaining.
Yeah,
you can see why he's a fan favorite. You can see why it is that people love watching him.
Also, he got dropped in the 5th.
Yeah,
was that the knockdown? And then he won the next round, and I thought he won the round after that, and I was like, oh my god, this dude might. If he just continues this, he'll lose, but only because of the knockdown 10-8 round. That would have been insane if he just clean swept those later rounds. He didn't. Jake ended up getting kind of a second win and at the end there. He won the last 2, I think. But yeah, it doesn't even matter. But it was better than I thought. I just didn't want to see my boy get dropped or knocked out. Even the knockdown, it seemed like he was fine. It was more like off balance, it seemed like.
We have to take this for what it is. And this is purely entertainment, dude. It's purely entertainment.
It's not even just that. I just want to see Nate get paid.
Me too.
I just want to see him get paid.
Too.
And I'm sure he made at least 7 figures in this.
100%. 100%. And then
$500K just to show? Come on.
After the fight, they talk about the fact that, Jake's like, hey, well, I've already offered him a match in the PFL.
That doesn't happen.
Offering him a $10 million payout. And they asked Nate, and he's like, well, he's got one on me. I got to try to get it back. And he's like, already sunk in the guillotine choke on him.
He also was like, I already got the single leg in the guillotine, so I already beat him.
Yeah.
But I don't think that fight actually happens. Look, they can't. The PFL, they don't have endless money here. They can't. If Nate's making $10 million to fight Jake Paul, what's Jake Paul making? And how is PFL going to make any money off that fight? They're not going to make any money on it.
But
there's no way.
Paul a partner now with the PFL?
Yeah, but he can say that he wants to do that. It doesn't mean it makes him look. It's the same thing like when he called out Canelo. He called out all these guys. Like he knows what he's doing. He makes these claims, so people are like, well, he's game. He's willing to do it, and then it doesn't happen, and he ends up fighting Dan Askren. You know what I mean? Like, it's just. I don't think that fight happens. I don't think it happens. I think.
But also,
Nate
Canelo
comes back
doesn't
to the
need
UFC.
the money, and also Canelo has a legacy. So, who's to say he doesn't really want to fight?
Well, yeah, but then there's other time. That was just one example. If you go back and look at all the call-outs that Jake Paul has done and all the responses to call-outs, anytime an actual worthy opponent calls him out, he's down to do it, and then he fights a retired MMA fighter.
Yeah.
He's very good at optics. He knows what he's doing. Like, he makes that claim. People are like, oh, I hope they do it. There's intrigue. Then he's going to fight somebody else. Nate's probably...
He's a businessman.
Most likely... Yeah, I think what's going to happen is Nate's going to come back to the UFC and he's going to fight Conor at UFC 300. I think that's what happens. Because he's already talked about how he's like, yeah, I want to do the boxing fight and then go back to the UFC. Dana's talked about him coming back already like multiple times. Like Conor wants to do that third fight. I just think there's no way he fights at the PFL for $10 million. They're not going to pay him $10 million. There's no way.
I hope it happens, though.
I hope so too.
Because I want him to get a $10 million payout and ride off into the sunset. And you could just look at Dana, flip him the bird, and just,
what I would like is if that does happen, we got time. We do that PFL fight, 10 mil, and then come back fight Conor for at UFC 300. Because Conor's wasted now. He's washed out. Nate's washed out. Let's do it. UFC 300. It's a fun fight. One
of them's coked out, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm not talking about Nate.
Yeah.
But overall, fun event. I think HOB Comer said he also seen the female fight before, which was Serrano versus Hardy. Yeah.
Fight.
A little mismatch.
Dude, when you say it was a great event, let's limit that to the one fight because everything else was a shit show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. And even the comments.
Chris Avila misses weight and looks your boy looked chunky in there,
and he looked like Chris Avila in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
Or no disrespect, but if Chris Avila sees you in the streets, it's on site.
It's on site, and you
It's
have
on
a
site.
decent chance.
All right, man. Let's move on to the next event that we're going to cover.
Yeah, we're 55 minutes in, but you got time?
The real question is, do listeners have time?
I mean, yeah, let's do it. I got time.
Let's
I have
go.
nothing to do. Katie's out of town. I'm literally, after I finish this, I'm going to play Baldur's Gate until I go to bed. So
classic. So we had one on Prime 13, one fight night on Prime 13. Allazov versus Grigorian was the main event. Again, anytime that we're watching one fight nights now on Prime, I'm tuning in, man, because every fight that I've watched so far is pretty good, except for Supergirl.
You texted me mid card about one of the fights unprompted, and I was like, Ramiro's watching live.
I'm watching, and I wasn't doing anything with it on the background. Like, I'm watching it.
Yeah, there was some fun ones on this one.
There was Supergirl. The fight was okay. But Blunderbuff says I'm literally just here for this event, so I got time. Blunderbuff, shout out.
Shout out Blunderbuff.
Shout out Blunderbuff. Allazov, first time I watched this guy, I believe the first fight I watched was him versus, who was it? Superbon?
Probably Superbon.
And I'm like, okay, Will's talking to me about Superbon, the legend of Superbon, and then here comes Allazov and takes the title from him, and you're like, dude, you don't understand. This was like a huge upset.
Well, no, it wasn't so much an upset. It was just, I mean, when that fight happened, it was pound for pound number 1 versus pound for pound number 2. So it wasn't like an upset. It was just a big deal. And Allazov, the run that he's on right now is like absolutely legendary. Like it's insane that the run he's on.
Okay.
He has, let's see. So he beat Sitachai, he knocked out Superbon, and then now beats Grigorian. That's insane.
Yeah.
Those three alone, like that's nut. And now he's calling out Petrosian. Like the guy's a fucking animal, dude. But
hey, you know what? Is probably the same testing as Jake Paul's promotion, I think here.
Hey,
I mean, look at these guys.
What are we doing here?
What are
we trying to do?
I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah, so they fought before like a decade. I think it was literally like 10 years ago. They fought twice. There was a no contest, and then Grigorian beat him by decision in their second fight. So this was like, well, can anybody beat Allazov now? Well, here's someone who did, so let's see what happens. And Grigorian is very good, like really skilled, Dutch style, right? And you could see, because Allazov is so good at going in and out. He darts in, he darts out, he hits you. He's like a drive-by shooting, like kickboxing style. It's very cool, and so many different weapons. But he needs space to do that. You know, you can't just do that if someone's smothering you. So I thought his game plan to just walk him down the entire time and smother him, don't let him have any space to dart in and out. That was a good game plan. But I mean,
look at Olivia Cost in the background. Such a savage. I love watching that guy. I don't know why.
He's really good.
He is fantastic.
He just takes no bullshit. Like they say, no nonsense.
The real no nonsense. Real no nonsense.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go. But every single time Grigorian would step forward, he's hit with something, and it's different every time. I mean, Allazov.
Did he seem off the back in that first round, Grigorian?
Well, how could you not be? You're walking in, you're getting hit with an inside leg kick, an outside leg kick, body shots, the jab, the hooks up top, like, and then eventually, like this picture's perfect. Eventually, Allazov found that step in knee. Every time Grigorian would walk in, he'd just eat that knee, he'd put the knee down. Grigorian would try to throw the lead left hook, and Allazov's out the side door. Just, I mean, to see somebody who is so good at darting forwards and cracking people and then exiting off the far angle, to see someone like that fight so brilliantly on the back foot for the entire fight and at such a pace. You talk about being exhausted and still going, regardless of what the body language looks like towards the end of the fight. God damn. But Grigorian did that fifth round was a little dicey there, huh?
I was gonna say that fifth round, Grigorian, I felt like was a lot more willing to eat a few shots, to throw combinations. Because like you
He
said,
was like,
you
I
mentioned
need
like,
this
him
now.
going in with that lead left or just going in with the straight right shot, and then he'd back off because like I felt like he was hesitant and waiting to see what was coming his way. In that last round, man, he was going for broke, and he made that last round so exciting, man. He caught
he really
Allazov
did
a few times.
Yeah, he did. I'm gonna try. I've been having weird things with the share screen. I'm gonna try this really quick.
You can show a clip.
Yeah, let's see. This is the final round, I believe.
Okay. Oh, so much fun.
I mean, look at this pace, dude. Look at that uppercut.
And look, dude, Grigorian was game. And Olivia Costas, get out of my face.
I mean, could you hear the audio?
No, audio did not come through.
Audio did not come through, I'm told. That was the crowd. I mean, the crowd was going crazy. They're in Thailand, right? They're in Lumpini. In the post-fight interview, Allazov gets the win, right? It was a beautiful performance the whole fight. While they're interviewing him, dude is on the verge of throwing up. Did you watch the interview?
No.
Man, I was like, please let this man go. Like, let him go because he's about to throw up. I mean, the guy looked exhausted.
That's amazing, man. Dude, again, combat sports in general, man, just pushing the body to the limit. Like the human body, what it's capable of doing, right? With all the aliens that have been hitting us up recently, I hope that they've been watching MMA to be able to see like, wow, this is actually amazing.
Well, so that's what I've always said. This is going to sound stupid, but I've always said the 2005 middleweight Grand Prix from Pride that Shogun won, all the adversity he dealt with in that. I mean, getting dropped by Overeem, coming back, finishing him. He beats who was it? I don't remember. But the Vanderlei fought Arona, and then Shogun fought whatever it was. The tournament was insane. What Shogun had to go through. And the fact that he won that whole thing, if aliens came and they're like, what do we learn about people? Show us what humans are capable of, or like who are you? I would show them that whole Grand Prix and just watch Shogun go through. And
they would say the human body is amazing, the human body is resilient, and you know what else? They got heart.
And they say, and you know what else? Pride never die.
You're wearing Pride shirts by the time that they get beat back up. That'd be hilarious. They'd be in your living room. They'd be like, "Hey, can I take that glove? Can I take that autograph glove?
Shogun?
Yeah." But yes,
very fun fight. Grandfather hurt 10 years ago. Oh, it was bad. It was close, man. It was close. And it sucked because it was touching. He was dedicating the fight to his grandfather, who just passed away, who said that he wanted nothing more than for Allazov to get that win back over Grigorian, and he just passed away a couple months ago. Pretty sad.
Damn.
And Monster Tony's coming through. Says Nate and Jake should have fought with the same Thai box rules. Man,
yeah,
that would have been interesting. I wonder how Jake Paul throws or can eat leg kicks. Be interesting.
Probably not very good.
But yeah,
probably not very good.
Yeah,
but I was just gonna say Lumpini Stadium. It just adds some extra intensity to the fights as you're watching it. Whenever they land an elbow, whenever they land a knee, anything, it's just all in the background. It's over so cool. And over again. So we've said it before, I'll say it again. Like, we have to plan like a story of the fight event where a bunch of listeners, and us, like, we just meet up for one fight, Lumpini Stadium, man.
Oh, that would be cool.
So sick, man. Think about that.
I would love to go to Lumpini, dude. I mean, it's every fight. I mean, this next one I'm gonna make sure that we have audio for it because the crowd is just insane. Because Tawanchai. No, shit, it's not the next one. The next one we gotta cover Mikey Musumeci.
Yeah. Versus the Monkey King.
Monkey God.
Monkey God, that's what it is. Thank you for correcting. Dude, I should have put a picture of Jared Brooks as he was walking out with the monkey mask.
Oh yeah, dude, what a class! I mean, just classic.
So good. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah.
When I was like, bro, his walkout mask, fantastic. Mikey Musumeci, no mask, as he walked out.
Yeah.
And there's just something so awkward about Mikey Musumeci that makes me love him. Because
he's
he
also
looks,
just very he's just a good dude, you know? You can tell he's just a good dude.
Yes, he looks so normal in the sense that like you see you see Jared Brooks, he's walking out with the monkey mask. Dude,
he's the MMA champ.
Right? MMA champion, you're like, this guy's like on another level, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see Mikey Musumeci walk out and you're like, this reminds me of some of my buddies in high school I used to go to Burger King with, you know, and just
also shredded. Absolutely shredded.
Shredded. Yes.
But very unassuming.
Shredded. Yeah, he walks out with his glasses on, you know, like he looks uncomfortable to be in front of a giant crowd, you know, and then like he's walking and he's like, should I dap people up as I walk by? I'll dap you, but I won't dap the next person because I don't know. He might have had some germs on his hand. And like, it's just, he doesn't, very, very unassuming. He looks very unassuming. And then he gets in there, man. And as soon as that bell rings, he flips a switch and he's just trying to break any limb he can get a hold of. And his transitions, man.
That's what's cool about the submission grappling rules for one championship is that it's not based off like top game. It's not based off who's on top or passing or anything like that. It's literally if you submit him, you win. And then if it goes to decision, who had the most submission attempts? So it's just like, what can I get? What can I get? What are you going to give me that I can try to take? It's forcing that. And someone like Mikey who can just take those opportunities and work with them, it's a really good rule set for a grappler like him. And yeah, you can see that he just like thrives in it.
Yeah, and again, his transitions, always attacking something, man. I was a little confused as to why, like when Mikey had Brooks back and he was working towards submission, that the ref stood him back up.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I think they're just trying to make it more exciting with the grappling. They don't want long stalemates. And it's that we're going through a weird phase now in MMA, especially where like backpacking is a very real thing, and people will get the back early and basically just have that the whole round, and it's just a round out the window, and the choke never comes. So I'm wondering if the like consensus is starting to change on back control, and I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves, and if that's not as people have a shorter leash for it, maybe coming soon. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, but the stand up from the back.
Hey, and we're in a grappling submission match. You have Mikey Musumeci on somebody's back. You don't think he's gonna fucking go for the finish? Get out of my face, ref.
And it sucks.
Get out of my face. Walk out of Lupini right now.
Did you watch the interview?
When he said he was working towards a badass submission?
He's like, I've been working on the submission, and I almost got the setup for it, and then they stood it up, so it was a little bump, and I was like, what was it? I want to know what it was.
And now there's a cliffhanger. What was that submission? Then Mikey Musumeci also said that he has some news coming on later on down the road.
I know. I wonder what that is.
I'm so worried, dude. I don't want to see him in MMA. Please don't let
Well,
it be
they've talked about, there's hints that maybe Mikey is going to do a grappling event with Mighty Mouse over in Qatar when they go to Qatar.
That'd be sick.
So maybe that's what it is. That'd be fun to watch.
You know, they're like, so what is this thing that you have coming up? Wait, what? And he goes, I don't know if I can announce it. I don't know if I'm allowed to. The way he said it was super awkward.
Yeah.
I was like, I love this guy. Give me more Musumeci, man. Everybody needs more Musumeci in their life.
Yeah, definitely. The finish was also super sick, right?
Yes.
He gets he sets the triangle up, but it's backwards, right? Where normally you'd want the lock, this lock on the other side of the head. But getting the control is important, obviously, and flattening him out. Brooks did a good job defending, but he basically uses that lock to attack the arm and go for the straight arm lock, which is a cool position, man. Really cool position.
It is.
And again, watching him work methodically.
This is another example, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the lock,
this
puts both
I'm
arms
not a huge
like
fan
right
of
near the elbow.
I don't like that you can kind of use the ropes to escape a submission a little bit, but look at the way he feeds his arm in right there.
Yep.
He attacks the arm. Look at that. Look at that leverage. Oh, so sick.
as soon as his hips went up, right, arm down, hips up, and he had no option but to tap. But yes, Blunderbob talks about the Brooks being so aggro, but even he can't be a dick to Mikey. I thought that was awesome too. At the end, they're just going back and forth, big hug with each other, smile on their faces. And then Monster Tony says, "Bro is banking, gets a $50K bonus every 3 to 4 months."
Yeah, it's amazing. How cool too, because like jiu-jitsu is not. It's unless you're like jiu-jitsu's tough to make money with. You know what I mean? So with one doing this with these belts for submission grappling and then just throwing out bonuses if you get the finish, like it's just so sick to see, because Mikey isn't making this money outside of this. He probably still would be making good money doing seminars,
some sponsors here and there,
sponsorships at other tournaments, things like that, but nothing like this. I'm sure he's making a ton of money.
Good for him, dude.
Good for him. He deserves it.
All right, we can move on to the next one where we had Tawanchai versus Kiria.
Dude. Tawanchai is...
Who had mentioned arms earlier?
Yeah, Blunderbutt mentioned the arms. So
not a good night for arms.
Tawanchai, was it his last fight where he fought Yusupov? Was it the last one?
That's the wrong guy, dude.
You didn't watch it? I thought you watched it.
I probably did, but considering that your boy just started watching one like a few months back, the names do not stick with me.
It was his last fight where it was 30 seconds in where he throws that outside leg kick and takes him out with an outside leg kick 30 seconds into the fight, because he kicks so hard. And Blunderbuff says yes it was. So now he's like, I collected a leg. I've had knockouts. I collected a leg now. Can I collect an arm? And Kiria, Davit Kiria is very good too. Like glory kickboxing. This is kickboxing. This isn't Muay Thai. Tawanchai's style is very it favors Muay Thai, clinching knees. He landed an elbow in the clinch on the ropes.
Ref saw it though.
And I was like, he's like, hey, whoa. That's not what we're doing here. And he's like, yeah. But Kiria is one. No joke. Yeah. but it's, I don't want people to see this and think like, okay, he beat some guy I've never heard of. You know what I mean? That's not what this was. Kiria is very good. Blunderbuff says, man just has to start hanging limbs in his living room as trophies. Yeah, man, seriously. So the game plan in this was Kiria did a great job, I thought, because boxing is something that Tawanchai's not, you could tell he's still not fully comfortable with. Kiria was landing some good shots with the hands as the fight was going on. But Tawanchai just, and you want to smother him, right? Because he's such a good kicker. You want to smother him, take away that kicking range. So you walk forward, you take kicks on your shell, try to get in close, smother him, and start landing those hands. And he was doing pretty good at that. But eventually that arm will snap if you just keep blocking. And what are you supposed to do? What do you even do?
Yeah.
Because if you don't walk him forward,
it's a catch-22, man.
Yeah, because if you don't walk him forward, you don't try to smother him, he's going to light you up with a bunch of kicks. So you have to walk him down. You can't just eat the kick to your face. You have to block it, but you have no control over if your arm's going to snap at all. And it did. And it broke.
Yeah, and as soon as that last one, I think there's a picture of it too, on the last kick that he blocks, and his arm just goes down, right? And he just kind of puts his glove up to Tawanchai. Was like, "Hey, man, you got me," and looks at the ref, and the ref's like, "Okay, let's not continue."
And they were talking about, Rich Franklin called it out at the start of the round. He was like, "I'm pretty sure the arm's already broken," and then he kept fighting, and then he just keeps blasting that high kick, and it's like, "Oh my god, it's broke." And then I think he landed 2 after he talked about it already being broken. That was all she wrote. I'm trying to pull up a picture of the X-ray. Because like HLB Comer said, we like
broken limbs.
We like the breaks, And I think I just got it right here.
Oh, sweet. Okay. But yeah. So I've watched Tawanchai fight a couple times. does he fight more often in Muay Thai than he does in kickboxing? Then
this was his kickboxing debut.
Well, there is the broken arm.
Yeah, I mean, look at the chips. There's like a chip of it off the like.
Ooh,
this guy right here.
Yeah,
you know,
it's disgusting.
It just becomes this broken Pokemon. But Tawanchai, this was his first kickboxing match. He's trying to rise up the ranks because I think he wants to fight Allazov in kickboxing. He is the Muay Thai champ, and he's defending his Muay Thai belt against Superbon in October. That's going to be insane. I like that. That's going to be nuts. But let's see. We talked about Lumpini crowd. Let's make sure we can hear this.
Oh, the audio.
Yeah.
See if it works.
Let's see if this works, fellas.
Shout out, Rick.
Looks like it's going to. Let me know if you hear the audio.
Yep.
Look at these kicks. I mean, just over and over and over against that arm.
Yeah. I mean, your arms can only take so much, you know. Your body can only take so much. Again, I know we spoke about the body, human body being, listen to that, it's so resilient, but come on.
Look at these
like taking a bat.
That was the one.
Like taking a bat off your arm over and over and over again.
Look at this last one that breaks it. Oh. And then you see the picture, and it's like,
yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do it, man. What a win, though. Just blasting him with kicks till he breaks it. Wild.
All right. I think we have 2 more fights to cover. Next one is, let me see, John Lineker versus Jae-Woong Kim.
Yeah, Lineker coming back after losing his belt. And this was not an easy win for him. He had to dig deep for this one.
He sure did, man. I thought that Kim had some beautiful timing on his takedowns early on, landed some really nasty elbows. You know, Lineker getting creative with some big step-ins in the second round to close the distance because it seemed like he had a hard time with it in the beginning. You know, but what a crazy third round, man. By that time, Kim's a little more tired. You have Lineker that's stuffing the takedowns. Yeah,
that was scary. Once Lineker starts shrugging off your takedowns and not having to sprawl or anything and just literally just chucking you off, that's like, oh no.
Yes, because now you're coming. Like, oh, they call him Hands of Stone. Let me find out why right now. Holy smokes, man. I don't know if you have a clip of it, but that little combo at the end.
I do.
That puts of course you do. I can always count on you having that ready, dude. But this is something that
I have it, but let's not say it's ready.
Oh, okay. Well, but yeah, it was a rip to the body. I believe it was with the right, Will?
Yeah. Bam,
boom, and then comes back up with the left and hooking with the boys, yes. And that put him out with a few seconds left. No.
Yeah, they say the phrase is you don't hook with the hooker, you know, because John Lineker bangs, man. And here it is. This is literally 5 seconds left of the fight, which if it goes to decision, he probably loses. And here it is. It's going to go quick.
All right.
Or it's just not going to play.
Yeah. Sooner or later it will come up.
It's going to go quick, guys. Just you wait.
Oh my God. All right. Well,
here it
just take our word for it. If it doesn't pop up, is it going to play though?
Man, right hook to the body, left hook up top.
And then I think it was Herb, was it?
Yeah, it was Herb.
Herb Dean, where he's like, should I hop in? Should I not?
Bam.
Oh.
Classic Lineker.
Hits him right on his ass, man.
Lineker's terrifying, dude.
Look at that. Oh, beautiful. And so how many seconds were left when Herb stepped in?
I think there was like 1 second left.
Oof.
It was crazy.
Oof. Rough.
Yeah.
But dude, awesome fight. And again, I'm watching this and I'm like, man, I'm so happy I'm I'm watching one now.
Let's go.
And then the last fight we're going to cover, Umar Khan versus Marcus Buchecha.
Dude, Reug versus Buchecha. They've been, some would say Buchecha, some would say Reug, some would say Khan, some would say Almeida. They got all kinds of names. Potato. This fight, talk about pride never die. This felt like a pride fight. Just two big old boys, grapplers, swinging and banging, crazy exhausted. This felt like a pride fight. 100% felt like a pride fight.
Yes. And once again, I just think about the third round where both men are exhausted.
Yeah.
Exhausted. And what happened? I think the ref stood him up at some point, right?
Buchecha, Herb Dean had a tough one in this fight because Buchecha is a grappling wizard, right? Jiu-jitsu wizard. Reug is from Senegal. There's like a very specific wrestling type. If you watch,
it's Lamb. It's called Lamb.
What was that?
Lamb?
The
wrestling over there?
The wrestling, is it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, I thought you meant the country. I was like, what? No. But his grappling exchanges are nuts over there. It's a lot of like spinning on top of people and like maintaining that top pressure, or not top pressure, but really allowing someone to move underneath you and you stay on top. A lot of crazy scrambles. I thought I had Buchecha by submission. I was like, he's going to submit him round one because Reug's not going to be able to stop the takedowns, and Buchecha's a wizard. And then he stopped takedowns and he took him down, and he was very good on top. And there were some fun grappling exchanges, but and they were clearly exhausted. Reug is a little bit better, I think, at striking at this point in their careers, both pretty early in their MMA careers. But eventually they started saying, who needs this jiu-jitsu? Who needs this lamb? I'm just going to start trading. And they just went to war even though they were exhausted.
Yeah, and again, both of them just caution to the wind, arms down, shooting from the hip. And there's some times where like Buchecha would go like throw like a left hook, right hook. But in between, you also had Reug that was throwing left hook, right hook. And like both are doing the exact same combo like over and over again.
In the pocket, dude.
Oh my God. It was insane. But Buchecha ends up losing, huh?
Buchecha loses. Is his first loss in MMA. Like I said, they're both very early in their careers with MMA. But yeah, he takes the loss. A teachable moment, I think. Maybe some things to work on going back. But if we want to see what we're talking about with how crazy this was, look at these guys swinging.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Hook, hook. Hook, hook.
Look at these guys, dude. And a knee from Buchecha, and then a right hand by Reug, and another one. I mean, just crazy, dude. What are these guys have crazy chins, too.
Yeah.
This was insane.
So much fun.
Just exhausted. Very fun grappling, though.
Reug just landing some big shots with that right hand.
It's just crazy.
Another good one. But look at Herb Dean, too.
And look at Buchecha just going back at him with the BJ Penn shorts. And the short grabs by Reug.
But yeah, like I said, fun card.
Yeah, and Herb Dean, during that fight, Reug kept grabbing the shorts, grabbing the gloves, things like that. And Herb Dean at one point stopped them. They stand him up, and as he's telling him to stop, and that they're standing up, Reug looks up and he goes, "No," and I was like, "Whoa, I've never seen that before." And then they get up, and eventually Herb's like, "I will disqualify you. Like, you need to get up." And he was like, "Fine."
He yellow carded him too, right?
He yellow carded him as well. Blunderbuff says Herb was spicy.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, he had his work cut out for him. And then another one where in the post-fight interview, Mitch Chilson's talking to Reug, and he's like, you can tell Rugger's like, "Get me out of here. I need an oxygen tank. Please stop talking to me." And they give him the bonus, and he drops to his knees. And then Mitch is like, "What do you think about that?" And he's just on the ground, like just dying. He's like, "You gotta give me something."
It was insane. All right, man.
Super funny.
That was it. We covered 3 events.
Yeah, hour and a half.
Longest episode we've done in a while. This might be the longest episode, yeah. Since we started kind of knowing what we're doing, this has probably been the longest episode we've had.
Yeah. It sucks that Rich wasn't here because, man, I was struggling there for a bit trying to move all the windows and stuff.
You did a great job, man. You did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Blunderbuff says, I thought that was a weird bonus. Yeah, in my opinion, it was a crazy fight. I feel like both of them should have got a bonus, honestly, for just kind of the war that it was. But at the same time, I don't know if you reward with a bonus to someone who was like cheating the whole fight, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, got yellow carded and almost disqualified, still got the bonus. But you know what? I'm fine with fighters getting paid. I do.
With the yellow card, they lose a percentage of their purse too, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I don't know how that affects bonus. You know, I don't know if it's also a percentage of the bonus. If they say here's the total, now there's a percentage off, or if it's here's what you would have gotten percentage off, but then you get a bonus on top of everything after that. I don't know how that works, but I also really like they did it a couple times with Lineker was one of them. If you miss weight and you have a great performance, they tell you in the post-fight interview, hey, you would have got a bonus, but you missed weight, so you're not getting one.
Just rubbing it in a little bit more.
And they should, man. That's great. That's a great deterrent. Because then it's like, man, me missing weight just cost me $50,000.
Unless you're fighting Wonder Boy, then you won't even get anything. You won't even have a
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let's go through and see who we had on today. Regen joined us today. HLB Comer. Shout out Colleen. Who else? We have Blunderbub on here as well. Monster Tony. Always a good time whenever y'all hop on with us and talk some fights. Blunderbub, if we have one fight night to cover, Blunderbub's on.
Blunderbub's there. Blunderbub's also in the one Discord with me too. That's a fun time. I had to check out though. I couldn't. Yeah, that's another story.
Blunderbub, you don't have to say right now. Just put it in the chat afterwards if you can. Maybe it was just me, but there was a specific fight. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I think it was the Lineker fight where there was like a sound of like a drum beat in the background. I think I texted you about this too, Will. I was like, hey, are you picking this up or is it just me?
Well, they do a heartbeat. One does a heartbeat through the stadium during the fights.
Oh, dude, that was so awesome. Annoying. I hated that shit.
It might not have been that. I don't remember, but
no, that's what it sounded like. That's what it sounded like. It was loud enough for me to hear it through my surround sound. And I was like, no, I don't want to hear this the entire time.
I'll be honest though, when you're there live at the event and it's a crazy fight and there's a heartbeat going through the crowd, it's pretty next level. It definitely adds to it.
That's exactly what it sounded like though. And then as we got closer into
that's what that is.
Yes. Okay, so you heard it too. And as it got closer to the end of the fight, like it started getting faster. And so that's why I was like, all right, somebody's like simulating a heartbeat with sick. That.
I love it.
I love that shit. Dude, come on. When you have surround sound going and you hear the crowd, and I love the but then it's like dun 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 dun. I'm like, what is going? Just turn that shit off, dude. Let me watch a fight. Because then all I could focus on at that point was a heartbeat. I'm like, is it getting faster? Is it getting slower?
Yeah. Does it change with what's happening in the fight?
Well, I need you to message Chachi right now and tell me you need to calm down on that. But shout out to everybody that joined us. Thank you so much if you were with us the entire time. Greatly appreciate it. If you know anybody that loves mixed martial arts, that loves boxing, specifically Nate Diaz boxing events, tell them to please like, subscribe, and to follow Story of the Fight. We're trying to reach 3,000 subscribers, and I think we're like at 2,700.
We're at 2820 at the start of this video.
20 now. So we've gained a couple hundred more here in the last week, I think, or a couple weeks. But either way, we're steadily growing.
Shout out to all y'all.
Yes, for real. And then, hey, whatever happened to Story of the Fight merch?
Don't talk to me about that, man. I just need to do the math. It's literally just math at this point.
Oh, shit.
It's all ready to go. I just need to figure out some math, and then we'll get it up. But it's close. Math. Really close. Yeah.
Cuz math. All right. Do you have anything else, Will?
No. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, our regular producer, Rich, is not here. He is currently in a Street Fighter tournament in Las Vegas. But your boy, Will, held it down. Not just talking about the fights, but also in the background working his magic. So shout out to you, Will. And thank you to everybody else for listening to another week of Story of the Fight.